A lot of what we're doing in the holidays deals with people, and people have to be flexible. Rigidity often causes problems. We experience disappointment and frustration because we have unmet expectations, but those expectations are unrealistic. Or we never discussed what the expectations were. Expectations and boundaries are something that we have to plan for all year long. We have to set and we have to keep. We say, quote, people have broken or don't respect our boundaries. Here's a note about boundaries. People don't break our boundaries. People don't disrespect our boundaries. We let people break our boundaries. Welcome to the Wing Space Podcast, a place to take up space, where we talk about all things wellness, from nutrition to movement to sleep and stress, and so much more. With me, your host, Jennifer Voorhaar, along with special guests and experts within our Hope and Healing wellness community. Let's jump in.
This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wing Space Podcast, a place to take up space. I'm your host, Jennifer Voorhaar, and I am so glad that you're with me today. We are going to discuss just a few ideas about how to survive these upcoming holidays. Before we jump into that, though, be sure that you like and subscribe to this podcast because it really does help us to spread the word about mental health and wellness topics to people that might be finding them, looking for them in the online space. So thank you so much for doing that. So my word for you today is PrEP. P.R.E.P. Now, yes, when you hear the idea of a holiday survival guide, of course, the word PrEP, preparation, prepare, is a part of that. But I want you to think about it as an acronym. So we're going to talk today about planning ahead, resting, expectations, and another plan. So obviously, planning ahead is one of those things that seems like it's common sense, right? For some of you, planning seems foreign or it seems painful. But what sometimes happens if we don't plan ahead is that we end up in the middle of December with lots of things to do, maybe additional events to attend, and no time on the calendar. Or we have filled our calendar with all the events and now we've left ourselves with no time to do the stuff because there's lots of stuff that has to happen for holidays. So I would invite you, this episode is coming out the week before Thanksgiving. So you may very likely already have your menu planned, your guest list planned, your travel plan set up for Thanksgiving. But if you don't, now is a great time to do that. And while you're at it, go ahead and look forward to the December holidays all the way through January, because sometimes we get through Christmas and we're like, "Phew, okay, that's over." And then we forget that there's the very next week, another set of holidays. Kids are still off of school, so we're still trying to entertain those little people. So grab your calendar, open it up. If you are kind of a digital calendar person, that's totally fine. I will tell you that I have found it very helpful to get a paper calendar to put in my kitchen at my house. Here's the reason we did it. When you are listening to this podcast, I will be one day post sending my son off to the Navy. And in the last several months that we've been planning for his departure, we knew that he was going to want to spend time with friends and we were going to want to do things with the family. And so I put a calendar on the wall in the kitchen so everybody knew what we were doing. And if there was an event that we had planned as a family, then my son knew that he couldn't make arrangements with his buddies, AKA set up a tea time. And by tea, I mean golf, not drinking tea. So you might consider just for like November, December, January, grabbing some paper calendars. You can print them off. Simple calendar that you can just print off and write down what are the events that we have going on. So you've got meals, a day of travel, children's concerts, family events, whatever. And then consider what are the things that you have to do, right? Before I get into that, I want to just say I often underestimate the time it's going to take for me to do things. So I really overbook myself and it drives my husband crazy because I'll tell him all the things that I have to do. And he's like, yeah, there's not enough time to do all that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's plenty of time. And then I end up scrambling because I will forget to add in like travel time or transition time or just a little added buffer in case life happens. So think about the tasks that you have to do, the meal planning, the grocery shopping, the running to an extra store if somebody doesn't have something, gift shopping, also gift wrapping. And I want you to consider where you can schedule some downtime. Because if every day is booked with work or school or projects or tasks and events, you're going to get through to January and say, "Phew, I'm glad that's over." And really, what we want to do is get through the year and get through the holidays and say, wow, that was a great time. Planning ahead is really important. And don't be afraid of the details. Don't be afraid of looking at, okay, we have this invitation for this party at this time. It's going to take us this amount of time to drive there. It's going to take this amount of time to get all the people in the family ready. So you have to backwards plan, right? It's like it's mom time. We have to be somewhere at 5. Um, it takes an hour to get there. We have to leave at 4. Let's plan on 3:45 just in case. It's going to take an hour for everybody to get ready. That's, 2:45. Let's plan on starting to get ready at 2:30. Don't be afraid of the details, including looking ahead at like what's the attire? What's the dress code? Do I have to bring a gift? Do I have to bring a dish? Those kinds of things. So planning ahead, I mentioned planning time for yourself. That leads us to the R of prep. So the P was plan ahead. The next letter is R, and it's rest. And with rest comes giving yourself permission to say no. You don't have to do all the things. We want to do all the things, right? We want to be with friends and family and do all the things. Maybe we need to give ourselves permission to say no. Maybe we need to give ourselves permission to say, not right now. I'll give you an example of something that we've done here at Hope and Healing, and that is we have our holiday party in January. It felt a little weird the first time that we did it because it was still considered our quote Christmas party. But my staff and I have really come to appreciate number one, it extends the celebration of the holidays. Number two, it gives us a chance to really enjoy the event and to be present without the hustle and bustle of everything else. So we gave ourselves permission to say no to the tradition of having a Christmas party in December, and we have it in January. You might want to consider giving yourself permission to say no to some of the invitations or to say no to some of the hullabaloo, right? I have noticed on Facebook recently that there's tons of invitations or just events, maybe not direct invitations, but events of holiday markets and craft fairs and Christmas bazaars and all of those things. Maybe in the course of planning ahead, you're going to look at what are those local events that I like to attend, putting them on the calendar. Go back to that first P, right? We're going to plan, we're going to put them on our calendar, and then we're going to say, yeah, we're not going to go to all of them. We're not going to go to an event Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maybe we're just going to choose our favorite because what I also really want to do is watch some Christmas movies with my kids. What I really want to do is, oh, this is my favorite thing to do. Sit in a dark room with the Christmas tree on. I can just totally relax and maybe have a low light on and just do some reading in front of the Christmas tree. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. I love being in a room with a Christmas tree on in the evening when it's dark. Um, so rest, giving yourself permission to say no, giving yourself permission to say yes to yourself. The next step of this survival process, the E is expectations and boundaries. Expectations and boundaries are something that we have to plan for all year long. and we have to set and we have to keep. However, we are often disappointed and frustrated because our expectations are not met, and we say, quote, people have broken or don't respect our boundaries. Here's a note about boundaries. People don't break our boundaries. People don't disrespect our boundaries. We let people break our boundaries. The best example that I have is, I shouldn't say best, I should say most often used example I have is if I'm in an office with a client or in a meeting and the door is closed and the little sign says do not disturb and someone walks in and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just have a quick question." And I let them speak to me. I have let them cross that boundary. I have let them break that boundary. But if that door opens up and I immediately say, "I am sorry, I am in a meeting," and I close that door, they attempted to cross that boundary, but they didn't. Sure, it was an interruption, but I held the boundary. Sometimes we have to acknowledge what our boundaries are, which means we have to plan ahead for them, and then we have to hold them. And if that means we are the boundary is we're going to accept one invitation a week or one invitation a month, then that's what the boundary is. So setting the boundaries, understanding the boundaries, and having a conversation with all of the people that you love who are a part of those plans to understand what those boundaries are. Because if you say to your spouse, we are only going to the neighborhood Christmas party, we are not going to the old neighborhood Christmas party and that long distance friend Christmas party. And then your spouse talks to the neighbor from the old neighborhood and says, "Oh, yeah, we'll be there." Well, now you're going to two parties and you only wanted to go to one. So when you're planning ahead and having these discussions about how we're going to set ourselves up for the holidays, we're going to talk to our spouse, our partner, our children, our parents, whomever it might be that needs to be a part of that. And when we're looking at expectations, we have to set them realistically. A lot of times we experience disappointment and frustration because we have unmet expectations, but those expectations are unrealistic. Or we never discussed what the expectations were. And when someone didn't meet our expectations and we were disappointed, it's because we were never clear with somebody about what they were. So if I go into, for example, the holiday season expecting it to be joyous and peaceful and happy and stress free, but I haven't planned and prepared and set the expectations realistically and boundaries, etc., then I'm going to be disappointed. But if I go into the holidays knowing that it's going to be fun, it's going to be energetic, it's going to be beautiful chaos, then at the end of the holidays, I can say, wow, that was really beautiful chaos. We just have to be able to set those realistic expectations and be flexible when things have to change, right? A lot of what we're doing in the holidays deals with people, and people have to be flexible. We have to have some bending as we go. Rigidity often causes problems. So I told you prep, plan, rest, expectations. The last one is plan. And this one might be slightly controversial, but the last plan is plan your escape. Now, I don't mean, climbing through the bathroom window and running out of your family's holiday party without saying goodbye to everyone. But I do mean setting the expectations before you go to an event and saying to your spouse, your children, your parents, your friend, whoever, we are leaving at 8 p.m. And so when it's 7:45 or 7:30 and you say to your kiddos, "Hey, it's 15 minutes, it's 30 minutes and we're leaving." "Oh, mom, come on." No, we're leaving at 8 p.m. Hold that boundary, set the expectation, and you know that you're leaving at 8 p.m. Sometimes we also have to buffer things, like sometimes we have to plan something else afterwards. "Oh, I'm so sorry. We can only stay at your holiday open house for an hour because we have to go to our grandmother's holiday dinner later. So I may have scheduled more than one thing in a day, but I'm going to give myself the out. I'm going to give myself the opportunity to leave at the appropriate time. Plan your escape can also be to plan your escape from the chaos, meaning, how are you going to rest and recharge? How are you going to step away and just take a minute to breathe? One of the things that I do is I plan one night. Usually it's one, sometimes it happens to be two, but one night where I sit in my room, I turn on Christmas movies, and I wrap presents. Now, the older I get, the more my hiney and my back are killing me after hours of Christmas wrapping. But it's fun for me. It's fun to just like make a total mess of my bedroom floor. There's wrapping paper, scissors, tape, gifts everywhere. And at the end of the night, all of the gifts are wrapped. And it feels so good to have all those gifts wrapped. But it's also a chance that I can just go in my room. I can close the door. Nobody's allowed to come in because nobody knows what gifts are going to be out. So nobody bothers me. And it's an escape from kind of all of that chaos. Maybe you schedule a day or a morning away out with a friend where you're not going to be Christmas shopping or going to a holiday bazaar or craft show. You're just going to meet for coffee or you're going to go for a walk. So, planning the escape can be planning the escape plan from an event, but it can also be planning the escape from just the chaos of things and giving yourself a chance to step back. So, I hope this is some practical but general tips just to help you going in. Really, it's about mindset. And what we look for, we will find. And if we go into the holiday saying this is going to be chaotic, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be busy, it's going to be so stressful, then that's exactly what we're going to have. But if we go into it knowing that we've planned ahead, we've buffered in some wiggle room, we've scheduled rest time. We've set the expectations and the boundaries. I know when I'm going to be able to step away from those events, as well as just step away from life and have some quality time for myself. Or maybe it's quality time with a loved one. So I would invite you to prep this holiday season. I wish you the very best that is to come over the next 8 weeks or so. I look forward to seeing things that are shared on social media. I would love to hear your ideas. You can always send us a DM or you can email me, Jennifer at hopehealingtherapy.com. I love hearing ideas that you, my listeners, have. And I'm just so grateful for you for taking your time for listening. And I'm so grateful for each of you that take the time to share these episodes with your loved ones and your friends. So if this episode spoke to you and you feel like it could really resonate with one of your friends or loved ones, please share it with them. And hopefully they'll get a little nugget to carry them into the holiday season as well. So as always, thanks for listening and have a great day.